gets ready for the entree. The main event, Oscar De La Hoya against Patrick Charpentier, and it is the culmination of what has already been here, a 5-day love-in for Oscar De La Hoya in El Paso. The hysteria began in March with the announcement that De La Hoya would be coming to predominantly Mexican-American El Paso. 34,000 tickets were bought up that week. When De La Hoya arrived in town this past Tuesday, he was met by a throng of supporters at the airport. Already an hour behind schedule, he spent another hour touching hands and signing autographs. The following day, an expected outdoor public workout was moved to a supposedly secret indoor location, and still 1,000 fans showed up. Same story Thursday, when organizers held the customary media-only pre-fight news conference and 1,500 De La Hoya fans tried to gain entry. It was as if Elvis and the Beatles had come to El Paso together. Yesterday's weigh-in uneventful, other than the by-now obligatory crush of screaming women battling for a closer look at Oscar. When asked to explain his heartthrob appeal, De La Hoya said simply, "I think all women respond to a fighter with a good left hook." And De La Hoya arriving here at the Sun Bowl Stadium earlier this evening to try to bring the fans what they want, an exciting victory. We mentioned that the crowd, expected to be near 50,000, would be one of the largest in the recent history of American boxing. Here are the biggest live gates for boxing matches in the United States over the past 50 years. And you can see that De La Hoya Charpentier in El Paso will rank 5th on that list, despite the fact that the Frenchman is almost totally unknown in this country. Earlier this evening, threatening weather conditions here, notably high winds, which caused organizers to remove the canopy from above the ring. This is a taped shot from earlier today, and you can see the havoc that the wind wreaked with that canopy over the ring, so that was taken away. The truss, which holds the heavy lights that are necessary for our telecast, was moved down to half its normal height because it was rocking back and forth in the wind and scaring the dickens out of all of us. Weather graphic as we get ready for the main event. Temperature still near 90 degrees here at ringside. Winds 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting up to 40 outside the stadium. We're told that those gusts may be larger inside the stadium because of the bowl effect. All of that because of Oscar De La Hoya's unique bond to the Latino American audience, which dominates this region. Of course, expectations for the Golden Boy have always been enormous, but it may come as a surprise to those of you who are not hardcore boxing fans that Oscar De La Hoya's identity as the Golden Boy is not unique. There was another one not that long ago.
Ever since I won the gold medal in Barcelona, I recall one of my uncles actually calling me his golden boy.
The golden boy, Oscar De La.
Unknown to many, Oscar's not the first golden boy. In 1937, Golden Boy was an acclaimed Broadway play written by Clifford Odets. 2 years later, William Holden made his acting debut in the movie version. He played a prolific young violinist who turns to boxing to make a living.
No.
They're good for only one thing now. Slugging. Slugging my way to the title.
Oh, no.
Even Sammy Davis Jr. got into the act, playing the Golden Boy in a Broadway musical. And 10 years after the movie release, a different kind of real-life Golden Boy appeared. A handsome young Mexican-American prizefighter from California named Art Aragon.
Wearing his famous gold attire, California's Golden Boy of boxing, Art Aragon.
Johnny Allen of the then Daily News wrote in this column before one of my fights, he wrote, "The coffers will be filled with gold tonight because Art Aragon is fighting." And the other paper said, "Wait, this is clever. Golden Boy," and that's the way it came about.
William Holden, a fan of Aragon's, helped market the nickname. In a publicity shoot, Holden passed on the robe that he had worn in the movie, and the name fit perfectly.
The Golden Boy goes where the gold is, and the gold for me is right here.
Well, there's certainly nobody been in the boxing game around here in a long, long time that has drawn the crowds that you have.
Don't forget it. Oh.
I was brash, overly cocky. I was too cocky. They should have called me Cocky Boy instead of Golden Boy.
Art was Mr. Personality. Everybody loved the guy or hated him, but they've always made a lot of noise. The greatest damn little bundle of joy when it comes to boxing I've ever seen. Art was so popular that there's never going to be nobody like Art. Nobody.
Aragon fought as a lightweight and welterweight. He beat champions Laurel Salas, Don Jordan, and Jimmy Carter, but never won a title belt himself. Known for his great chin and tremendous finishes, he's still most remembered for his flamboyant personality.
I wanted to get cheered like everybody else, you know. But every time I'd go in the ring, boo! So finally I told him, who the hell, who needs this? One fight, I wanted to get even. And I went like this to the audience. And the athletic commission fined me $500.
You didn't have to be a fight fan to know about Art Aragon, because he would do things that would hit the papers, and no matter where he went, something happened. But Art, when he would fight, he would bring out people that nobody else would bring out.
Despite the movie and play that preceded him, Art played the role of anti-hero, a bad guy who filled the seats.
Every fight he had was a sellout. Mexican fans came out to watch Aragon lose, and they were disappointed so many times. He liked to have been the villain.
I think that Muhammad Ali copied from him because he gave you a show, and he had charisma. The women loved him. The thing about him is, though, when he got in that ring, no matter what had happened, he gave it its all.
In his last fights, Aragon took tremendous beatings from Carmen Basilio and other world-class fighters, but he finally earned the respect of Mexican fans, fighting with his heart and taking his lumps. He retired with a record of 95 victories and 19 losses.
As far as Southern California was considered, he was a mold of his own. These old icons are sort of forgotten about. You got Oscar de la Hoya. He's the good guy, Golden Boy. Art was the bad guy, Golden Boy.
Today, a bail bondsman in Southern California, Aragon's still remembered as the ring's original Golden Boy. Tarnished, but nevertheless golden. A far cry from today's Golden Boy, who's sparklingly blemish-free. The good guy Golden Boy of the 21st century.
So Oscar de la Hoya continues on this freight train of success, which beginning with the Olympic gold medal in Barcelona, continuing with the unbeaten career, winning world titles in several weight classes as he has, all of it, Larry Merchant, has fueled a continually raging fire of enormous expectations. Has he, in your view, lived up to them?
So far, yes. And yes, and yes, once again. We seem to have to remember in this atmosphere that although Oscar de la Hoya is regarded as a hero or a heartthrob or both, that he is a terrific fighter who defended titles 5 times last year and who figures to add another yes to his collection tonight. And yet, when I flew to El Paso from Los Angeles on a plane filled with his fans, I kept hearing them asking each other over and over again, when is he going to fight a good fighter? They came here not for a good fight, but for a good fiesta. Which brings me back to the original Golden Boy, Art Aragon, because he did step up finally to fight a true champion in Carmen Basilio. And as the story is told, in the first round, he landed his absolute best shot, and Basilio didn't blink. Aragon went back to his corner and said to his handlers, "You better get me out of here before this guy kills me." It took 8 rounds. We don't expect to hear that from Oscar de la Hoya tonight.
No, but we could conceivably hear it from Patrick Charpentier, because the book on Charpentier, the Frenchman, despite the level of success that's brought him here, is that he is relatively slow, extremely willing, thinks of himself as a hard puncher, and will come straight forward, something that de la Hoya loves in an opponent. So all things being considered, Roy, should this be brief?
It could be, but the one thing you have to always consider is if he has a hard head, how will Oscar's hand hold up? If his hand can hold up to the pressure, then I'm sure he'll probably get him out pretty quick.
Yeah, de la Hoya coming off of the left wrist injury, and means a lot to Oscar because his 2 best punches are the jab and the left hook.
Yeah, and those are the 2 punches that usually get any fighter going, a good right-handed fighter. Those would be the most important punches for him. So if he can keep his hand healthy, make sure he doesn't hit him with too many shots high on the head, I think he'll be okay.
Well, nevertheless, Charpentier will be entertaining for a while. He's an interesting personality who arrives here with the most unusual inspiration and certainly the most unusual hobby we've ever found in a fighter. We went to France to learn more about Patrick Charpentier.
France, a country best known for fine cuisine, romance, the arts, joie de vivre, and a history of battling in wars against long odds. All this has been instilled in Patrick Charpentier, who grew up in Orléans, the pivotal city of France's 15th century liberation from England during the 100 Years' War. The French freedom fighter leading the comeback charge was Joan of Arc.
She was someone who was unique in her passion to wage war and express herself in combat. There is a comparison to be made with me because I am an underdog Frenchman, and she inspires me to make it to the top.
Charpentier hasn't faced the life and death struggles of his hometown icon, but he has had great success in his homeland, holding both the French and European championships. Despite these achievements, prize fighting was never his first passion.
I really liked cycling. I wanted to be a cyclist above all. But as there were no cycling schools when I was 12, so I turned to boxing, and combat sports struck my interest. It started because he was a bit rowdy, and this helped him quiet down, and he liked it immediately. He was a wild kid letting off steam.
Despite fame in France, Charpentier has not yet spread his roots too far. His priorities remain close to home.
To me, family is life. Boxing will never be my life. It's a period of my life. Family is the heart. It's rooted inside of us, and I will not stray from that, morally or physically.
And the 27-year-old welterweight hasn't strayed from the French tradition of pushing to be different. He has an unusual hobby that separates him from other boxers.
I started with 2 or 3 aluminum cans. After 6 years, I now have over 300. This is my chance to collect something that no one else does, and it's always nice to have something original.
His offbeat collection is only one element of his urge to stand out. He also distinguishes himself with an annual makeover.
I change my look once a year, every 1st of July. I started doing it 5 years ago to be unique. This is what characterizes me, but the media is having a hard time. They need a lot of archives to keep up with all the changes.
Almost as challenging as tracking his morphing mugshots is keeping up with the booming state of French boxing. France has never before had more than 2 champions at one time. In fact, they've only had 18 title holders in 86 years. But tonight, there are 5, and Charpentier is motivated to become number 6.
Patrick is fighting for himself, also for his wife, for his 2 children, but he's also fighting for the French nation. He wants to continue the tradition of the French fighter that in 2 or 3 last year beat American people, beat American fighters.
But against Oscar De La Hoya, Patrick Charpentier is driven by more than just this new surge of fighting Vive la France. Tonight, in the fight of Charpentier's life, his inspiration rings through from centuries ago.
My inspiration from Joan of Arc? She went to battle until the end, until she was burned while defending her region. I think that's beautiful. I may have some of the same motives when I step into the ring, making sacrifices and making big risks in order to reach my goal and claim victory.
This year's makeover for Charpentier expected to begin tonight, courtesy of Oscar De La Hoya's fists. Tail of the tape, De La Hoya with a 2-year age advantage, 1.5 inches taller. They both weighed in close to the limit. Charpentier 1 pound under. He's gained 6 pounds since yesterday's weigh-in. De La Hoya having gained 9, and Oscar with a 3-inch reach advantage over the Frenchman. Punch stat numbers, Larry.
The numbers for the punches landed are similar, but of course against a vastly different class of competition. De La Hoya, a resourceful, very accurate puncher. The defensive stats on this fight may be more pertinent. As you can see, De La Hoya gets hit many fewer punches than Charpentier.
And rules of the bout with the fight judge and pharmacist Harold Letterman.
Once again, the Oscar De La Hoya Patrick Charpentier fight is scheduled for 12 rounds using the unified rules of boxing pro world championship fights. There is no standing 8 count, no 3 knockdown rule. Only the referee can stop the fight and you cannot be saved by the bell in any round, including the 12th and final round. Jim.
All right, Harold. Haven't yet received an official attendance figure. Estimated at about 45,000, as we showed you on the graphic earlier. 5th largest American live boxing gate in the last 50 years.
And all of the others, Jim, were in fights that were believed to be competitive going in. That's what makes this an exceptional crowd. Oh, and there we see Charpentier. I couldn't help but muse in watching that feature on him, Jim, whether there was a tomato can among his collection. Tomato can being the universal designation for a very average to less than average fighter. But he's really handled the scene here very well, I thought. A couple hours ago, he was walking around waving to people.
In case you're wondering why we're denigrating this man's record, I would point out to you that his last 4 wins were over Leroy Owens, Virgil Petrache, Wayne Boudreaux, and Rene Uranga. De La Hoya, even on his most lopsided night, hasn't fought opposition as anonymous as that in quite some time. Probably the biggest win of his career was over a fighter named Gary Jacobs back in 1996. You saw Gary Jacobs here on HBO against Pernell Whitaker a few years ago. He was strictly an opponent.
A very clever defensive fighter who Charpentier stopped.
And the record for Patrick Charpentier: 27 wins, 4 losses, 1 draw, 23 knockouts of his own, but he has been cut, he has been stopped. There's nothing new here in the way of a frontier for De La Hoya to conquer.
I was in a restaurant this afternoon, Jim. I stopped in for some lunch. The waiter told me Charpentier had been there the evening before and had tried that great southwestern dish, green chili stew.
Brave man. Here comes De La Hoya.
What is this? I guess he fancies himself a toreador now. Did you see that invitation for him to become a bigamist, Jim? Will you marry us? Was one of the signs.
If there's a law against it, they'd change it here. If you're going to wear that outfit into the ring, you'd better be an unbeaten fighter. And Oscar is 27 wins, no losses, no draws, 22 KOs. The knockouts have come a little bit slower at the welterweight level, but he scored one against Wilfredo Rivera in his last bout. And of course, everyone expects another tonight. A couple of years ago, NBC Sports developed research that indicated more than half of the audience for Olympics telecasts was women. I wonder if the same would be true for an Oscar De La Hoya fight. Check out our website at www.hbo.com/boxing. Check stats, score at home, chat with other fans, meet pretty girls. That's www.hbo.com/boxing. And now let's go up to Michael Buffer for the official introductions.
Ladies and gentlemen, Top Rank Incorporated, along with your undisputed, undefeated king of beers, Budweiser. This Bud's for you. Present the main event of the evening. Sanctioned by the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation, Boxing Coordinator Dick Cole, Supervising Inspectors Greg Alvarez, Craig Hubble, Henry Molina, Bob Simpson, and Henry Villagomez. Your physicians at ringside, Dr. Raul Rivera and Dr. Tom Alost. Timekeeper and counting for the knockdown seconds will be Mark Ortega and Frank Adams. The three judges assigned to ringside, scoring the belt on a 10-point must system are Alfred Asaro, David Chung, and Gail Van Oy. And when the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action, Lawrence Cole. And now, from the Sun Bowl, El Paso, Texas, are you ready? ¡Órale, damas y caballeros del Paso, están listos! For the 51,000 in attendance and the millions watching around the world, ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue, white, and red, weighing 146 pounds. His professional record, 27 victories, with 4 defeats and 1 draw, and 23 of his victories are by knockout. From Vimilter, France, here is the WBC #1 ranked welterweight in the world, the challenger, mesdames et messieurs, Patrick Charpentier. And fighting out of the red corner, wearing white with gold and weighing 147 pounds. In 1992, he captured Olympic gold, and now as a professional, he has a perfect record. 27 straight victories without a defeat, including 22 knockouts and 4 world titles. From East Los Angeles, California, presenting the former junior lightweight, former lightweight, former super welterweight world champion, and now the reigning and defending undefeated welterweight champion of the world, El Niño de Oro, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
Gentlemen, I gave your instructions earlier in the dressing room. I want you to protect yourselves and obey my commands at all times. Understood? Touch them up. Good luck. Bon chance.
Charpentier says that the question for De La Hoya is, does he know how to suffer? Nobody has made him suffer in the ring yet. Is Charpentier the fighter who can do that?
You saw De La Hoya avoid eye contact with his opponent during the referee's instructions. It's always been his custom in the past. State of Texas regards Lawrence Cole as its best referee. De La Hoya has had 4 first-round knockouts in his career.
Charpentier's hands very high, Roy, to deal with De La Hoya's jab.
Yeah, but he reached for that first jab, and he's already wide open for Oscar's left hook. And there you saw Oscar try the hook because he thought it was open.
First left hook of the bout for De La Hoya. De La Hoya's handlers, Gil Clancy included, thinking that the left hook to the body is likely to be available here tonight. Charpentier tends to extend his hands when he tries to come forward. Charpentier short with a couple of jabs. De La Hoya twice to the body, right and left. Left hook to the body, left upstairs. Doesn't seem to be favoring the left wrist, Roy.
No, not at all. He's already making the left hand very active in this fight.
Charpentier mindful of pulling the right hand back quickly after he extended to throw the right cross. De La Hoya quite often uses the first round to sort of look and feel his opponent out and becomes more aggressive when the second bell rings.
Charpentier so far making De La Hoya take the lead.
Charpentier using his right elbow to try to block the left hook to the body. De La Hoya surely will take note of that and think of coming back upstairs.
Because his hands are on the side of his face so much, Charpentier, I think De La Hoya's left uppercut would be a big factor here too.
Crowd responding to every De La Hoya movement.
Very few clean punches landing here.
Cautious first round for both fighters. Straight right hand lands for De La Hoya. Two left hooks to the body. If Oscar can progressively make the right hand more of a factor from fight to fight, it will increase the degree to which he's a nightmare for his opponents. You don't come in against De La Hoya, Roy, thinking, I have to stop his right hand.
No, you don't do that. I don't think Charpentier came in to do that.
Roy Jones mentioned the left uppercut. Oscar De La Hoya threw his first one with about 8 seconds left in the round.
You'll notice when we get to Charpentier that he stands in the corner.
You'll notice Oscar's doing the same.
And Oscar's doing the same thing right now.
Make sure nobody stepped on these cameras. Put your back. All right.
Our interpreter in Charpentier's corner is Yves Jean-Baptiste.
Uppercut, left hook. More jabs. But be careful with him, okay? Work on his damaged shoulder. Okay, remember, he has a damaged shoulder, so work on it. Boom, devant.
Well, a couple of years ago, Oscar De La Hoya had an injured right shoulder. Hasn't been a factor for a while.
Charpentier's strategy may be to try to extend the fight for as long as we can. Since Oscar's been out of the ring for some time, maybe get overeager.
Well, I think Oscar hit him with a straight right hand over the top of his jab that hurt him already in the first round. So I don't think he really can take Oscar's punch. It's just Oscar has to take his time to set him up for one.
De La Hoya indicated that because of the size of the crowd and the passion they've shown for him, he wouldn't mind if they see a few rounds. He wasn't necessarily looking for an immediate chance at a knockout. And he has had 6 second-round knockouts in his career, including the big one over Rafael Huelas. Charpentier so conscious of De La Hoya's left hand, he'll only throw his own left. He's thrown maybe a couple of right-hand punches in the fight, but by and large, he wants to keep that right next to his chin.
Yeah, he tasted Oscar's power earlier. He doesn't want to take any chances and get caught with a big punch here earlier.
Oscar backing the Frenchman up with his jab, looking for a chance to land the power punch. Charpentier still extremely protective of the right side of his jaw. Oscar might think more of dropping the right hand over Charpentier's jab.
Yeah, he's dropped it a couple of times, but he's trying to break Charpentier's defense up with his left jab right now.
Hard left. Backs Charpentier into the ropes. Roy, when you talk about De La Hoya's punching power, his speed is obvious. It's easy to see how fast he is with his hands. But I always tell people I think his power comes from terrific technique. He really has been well schooled in how to throw punches.
Yeah, he has, and I think speed is also power, Jim. Anytime you see a guy deliver punches with the speed that Oscar does, there has to be power there. But he does throw beautiful punches. He was taught well by somebody, and he throws textbook punches, so they have to be powerful.
Particularly the left hook. Left hook to the body, uppercut, misses short. De La Hoya landing a straight left right through Charpentier's guard.
Charpentier is like a heavy bag here. He's just letting Oscar can do anything he wants to do whenever he gets ready.
Well, De La Hoya, father of, one-time lightweight fighter himself, and a huge force in Oscar's career. In fact, when Oscar fired trainer Emmanuel Stewart less than a year ago, it was because his father insisted he do it. And you see the staggeringly one-sided CompuBox numbers through 2 rounds.
Make sure your punches are inside. You're a little wide. You're working real well. It's just a matter of time. Don't get crazy now. Just be calm. That's it. A little more movement.
El gancho, cámbiaselo enfrente. ¿Ok?
Louis! Louis! Alou!
Charpentier throws a left hook and a right hand. So maybe the Frenchman is going to open up and become a tiny bit more aggressive after plodding through the first 2 rounds, throwing jabs almost exclusively and using his right hand to protect against Oscar De La Hoya's left hook and left jab.
Yeah, he came out as though he really wants to start fighting this round. Let's see how long will it last.
De La Hoya's cornermen, trainer Robert Alcazar, Gil Clancy, the whole camp, they like to refer to Charpentier as the piñata. That's why. Charpentier's handlers told us he's never been knocked down.
I thought that was a left hook as he pulled away, Roy.
It was a good left hook. He threw a right hand and followed with a left hook leaning back. That was another good straight right hand.
I don't think he was hurt badly, but there he ends dazed now.
4, 5, 6. No 3 knockdown rule. De La Hoya doing a terrific job of using the right to set up his left hook.
That's right. He actually landed a left uppercut that time, I think.
Yep. It was a perfect uppercut. And now the jab comes right through the center of Charpentier's guard. Frenchman down twice in the round. Very sharp punching by Oscar De La Hoya.
There he goes.
That'll do it. Referee Lawrence Cole has seen enough after a perfect, short, straight right hand finishes the job.
Yeah, he's standing right there. He's wide open for the punches. His hands on the side of his face. You always can hit a guy down the middle with his hands on the side of his face.
And we talked about the technique. You can't throw a right cross better than that.
No, you can't.
So they get what they want in El Paso. In the instant that Charpentier made himself just a little bit more aggressive, he became more available, and that was that.
Most of the time, when the guy starts trying to throw punches, it opens him up to be hit with bigger punches.
If you judge, even in a one-sided fight like this, you judge a fighter by how he goes about, in this case the Toreador, how he goes about taking the bull out. And I don't think you can improve upon what Oscar De La Hoya just did.
Well, conventional wisdom in the sport is there's only one other fighter in the same league.
Well, Oscar De La Hoya, everybody believes that to be Trinidad. De La Hoya himself says the toughest opponent for him would be Lopez. And there are people who agree with him. But the only place to prove it is in the ring, and we don't see that happening soon.
And in the pound-for-pound sweepstakes, so often bandied about in the boxing magazines that cover the sport, and among the boxing writers in the sport, sometimes here on this telecast, the only name that gets mentioned in the same sentence with De La Hoya is that of Roy Jones.
I would put that vice versa.
I would too, Larry.
Here's another look at knockdown number 1. Larry?
There you can see the left hook, quick left hook, an 8-inch left hook. There you see it again from a different angle as Charpentier elected to come in and fight him a little bit and caught that left hook. The next knockdown, which we'll see momentarily,
is the uppercut.
Is the uppercut as Charpentier was protecting his outside from the left hook.
Body, body, right up the middle.
When you're not getting any resistance, this looks almost too good. How will De La Hoya do when somebody comes out and is willing to stand in there and fight him? How will he do when somebody is hitting him the way he's hitting Charpentier now? That's what we haven't found. It's remarkable this much into his career. There is not a single memorable fight that De La Hoya has fought because nobody has given him that kind of stiff resistance.
And the third knockdown, the perfect right cross. And at that point, it had become target practice because Charpentier, dazed from the first 2 knockdowns, no longer able to defend himself in the same way. Balance, timing, technique, all of it on display.
Everything.
Let's go to Mike Buffer for the official particulars on this one.
At 1 minute, 56 seconds of round number 3, referee Lawrence Cole, following the third knockdown, calls a halt to the bout. The winner by knockout victory, still undefeated and still the reigning WBC welterweight champion of the world, El Niño de Oro, the Golden Boy, Oscar De La Hoya.
De La Hoya accepting praise from promoter Bob Arum, trainer Robert Alcazar. And now Oscar with a word for the crowd.
First of all, thank you very much for all your support. I felt great tonight. I thank the city of El Paso for giving me the strength, the opportunity to fight here in front of all these wonderful, beautiful fans. And I promise you one more thing, that I will be back. Y que viva México!
So, like MacArthur at Corregidor, De La Hoya vows to return to El Paso. Final punch stat numbers, probably the most one-sided we have ever programmed here before. De La Hoya landing 80 of 155. Considerable number of them power shots. Charpentier landing 5 out of 111. Charpentier throwing almost exclusively jabs, 96 out of his 111 attempted punches, jabs. He didn't want to risk much because maybe deep in his heart he knew what was coming once he did. De La Hoya throwing 84 jabs to set up his power punches and landing at a pretty high percentage, but at the end of the day, straight right hands, left hook, left uppercut, all of those things doing the damage for De La Hoya. Larry Merchant is with the champion.
Thank you, Jim, and congratulations, Oscar.
Thank you very much. And Larry, I'm just going to say one thing. This fight here meant a lot to me. I was training very, very hard, and there was just one focus on my mind today, of course, to get a victory, but this fight here is dedicated to my little boy Jacob, who's 3 months, and I miss him, and this is for you.
He came out in a shell, Oscar. Did you think that he was going to try to extend this fight and wait till late in the fight in order to try to make something happen?
Well, I believe that Patrick Charpentier was trying to measure me up. He was trying to work his jab. He was trying to work his combinations and see what I did wrong, see what mistakes I would make, and then come for the attack in the later rounds. He looked in great shape. He felt very solid and strong, but like I said, I mean, before I was saying that my speed is coming, it's even faster. My power, I feel it's so strong right now. So, you know, I'm ready for the guys now.
No problems with your left hand?
No problem at all, Larry, and I feel very, very strong with the left hand.
All right, we want to take a look at the 3 knockdowns and ask you to dissect them. Here's the first one.
Well, right here I was just waiting. He was catching me with a few jabs that I just got very careless, but as you can see, I was trying to go over his right here I connected with a good left hook after his jab that worked effectively. I really didn't study much of him, but I was trying to size him up and trying to work the body here, as you can see. And
that's the second knockdown.
He's the second good uppercut that I caught him with, and it was solid, very solid.
So the first 2 knockdowns were a hook, an uppercut, and here's the third one.
Was a right hand over right there, over the jab that we've been working on. That we've been trying to size up the very slow jab that comes to my face, move back on it, and come back with the right hand, and it works effectively.
All right, Oscar, you've said you want to be known as a great fighter. How do you define that? Is it somebody who wins the most titles, fights all the best fighters and beats them, makes the most money? What combination of those things do you regard as making a great fighter?
Well, I believe at this point it's a combination of everything, but most importantly is fighting the very best champions out there. And I want to fight whoever wants to sign a contract with me. I will fight. Just bring it on, bring it to the table, we will fight. I'm calling all the champions out there. For the first time in my life, I'm calling out a champion. Let's do it. Trinidad, Corte, whoever, let's do it.
But none of those fighters appears to be on your dance card for the next year. So when does it happen? And you're calling them out into what? A real negotiation in which there's give and take? Are you telling your promoter, make the fight whatever it takes?
Well, what I'm saying is sort out your problems with your managers, your promoters, and talk to Bob Arum and let's sign the fight. You know, I have Chavez in September. That's a definite. That's my personal fight that I want. In November, let's fight the big boys now. Let's go up. We have to go up to weight. Let's do it. Let's fight 147. I still feel strong at this weight, but let's keep on going. Let's fight the very best champions out there because I want to be recognized as the very best.
Thank you very much, Oscar. This has been a great night, a great week for Oscar De La Hoya, but I do think it's worth reminding all of you fans that Sugar Ray Leonard, who was the last great welterweight champion from the ages of 23 to 25, fought an outstanding champion in Wilfredo Benitez, fought one of the best fighters of all time in Roberto Duran twice, and then fought the outstanding Tommy Hearns. As yet, Oscar De La Hoya, who is 25, has not been in those kinds of firefights yet. Hopefully it will happen sooner rather than later. Jim?
All right, Larry, and you mentioned the De La Hoya dance card, which, as expressed by promoter Bob Arum, for the moment appears to include a rematch with Julio Cesar Chavez in September. You'll recall that De La Hoya easily vanquished Chavez on a 4th-round TKO June 7, 1996. Then after the first of the year, a possible match against Yori Boy Campos, maybe at Campos' championship level of 154 pounds, or maybe at De La Hoya's championship level of 147. And then beyond that, what they've mentioned is a possible fight against Obakar or Frankie Randall. Again, just to underline what Larry said, the that the world is waiting for, and Oscar knows it, is Felix Trinidad, Ike Corte, or Jose Luis Lopez. We'll have a final word on what happened here in the ring in just a moment. Let's look ahead to some upcoming programs on HBO.
I have the biggest fear of tripping on stage or somehow my naked ass being out in public.
I cannot be bombing in front of the homeless. Let me just say that. That is inappropriate.
You know what I'm really afraid of?
Whoopee.
Using the urinal right next to Milton Berle. That is a big fear.
You know how they always tell you to picture the audience with no pants? I'm always scared the audience pictures me with no pants.
All 8 of the things I fear about comic relief can be summed up in 3 words: the promo taping.
Legend to legend. Classic
Sing us a song, you're the piano man.
to classic.
Benny and the Jets.
Face to face. Elton John and Billy Joel, the world tour, their only stop in the USA, HBO. Elton and Billy, face to face, live in Vienna. Premieres Saturday, June 20th, only on HBO.
What is this place? Where warriors do battle on a ground they hold sacred. Where victory is a lover and defeat the hated. Where champions and challengers rise like blades of grass to the sun, in the hope of claiming a golden prize that says to the world, on this day, I was the best one. This place is Wimbledon. Starts Monday, June 22nd.
And then in August, we'll commemorate the 50th anniversary of the passing of Babe Ruth. In this next edition of Sports of the 20th Century, we'll show and explain why America's greatest sports icon is still so well remembered a half-century following his death. Babe Ruth, August 16. World Championship Boxing returns next month with a light heavyweight unification matchup featuring champions Roy Jones Jr. and Lou Del Valle, live July 18 at 10 o'clock p.m. Eastern Time. Here in El Paso tonight, before a crowd of 45,000, maybe more, Cesar Bazan won a split decision over Stevie Johnston in a rousing battle. Bazan, in his very first title fight, wins the World Lightweight Championship. Johnston fought bravely and well, and in the opinion of all of us, deserves a rematch. And then, with a screaming crowd showing its passion for him despite light opposition, Oscar De La Hoya, in what amounted to almost an exhibition, easily stopped Patrick Charpentier. A third-round knockout for De La Hoya in a fight in which Charpentier only landed 5 punches. Coming up immediately following tonight's coverage of World Championship Boxing, stay tuned for Arliss on the East Coast and Speed 2 Cruise Control on the West Coast. So now for Larry Merchant, Roy Jones, and Harold Letterman, I'm Jim Lapley, saying so long from the Sun Bowl in El Paso, Texas. The executive producer of HBO Sports is Ross Greenberg. Tonight's telecast of World Championship Boxing was produced by Rick Bernstein and directed by Mark Payton. The feature producers, Greg Backer, Dave Leipzig, and Max Siegel. The associate producer, Kirby Bradley and Kendall Bridges-Reed. Assistant to the producer, Matt Boland. Production manager was John McCallie, and the technical supervisor, John Roche. And tonight, with sadness, we say goodbye to our senior audio man, Bob Dixon, who has handled the audio for almost every World Championship Boxing telecast for 20 years. He's been taking your ears into the boxing corners with matchless quality, going off to browner pastures to work the Olympics for NBC. We wish him all the best. Bob, we're going to miss you.
This has been a presentation of HBO Sports, the network of champions.
Whoa, what a left hook. And that's that. First time Berthel Hill's ever been knocked out.
Jones Jr. returns Saturday, July 18th, only on HBO.